I haven't introduced myself earlier. I'm Andrea, the MC49. So before anything, I would like to thank you for lending your time to give us a talk. It's definitely an honor to have you here tonight, Mr. Oakley, and we really appreciate your time. So, Mr. Oakley is an entrepreneur and is also the founder and head of innovation at Denis Co, a consulting company where he specializes in helping companies look at their business models, discover the threats they are facing, and developing new business models to meet the challenges and opportunities of the business environment. He also has a YouTube channel with the same name as his company where he uploads educational videos on business concepts and talks about problems that you might be facing when you start your own company. Personally, I have watched a few videos and I really have to say, Mr. Oakley, you really have a talent in explaining things.
Oh, thank you.
So, oh yeah, you're welcome. But it was great. Thank you for your hard work and effort for that. So if you haven't checked out his YouTube channel out, I highly recommend you to do so because it will definitely benefit you in one way or another. I'll drop the link in the chat box on your right. This is his YouTube channel, so do go ahead and check it out. Now, enough of me talking. I'm sure Mr. Oakley has so much more to share with everyone on how to pitch our idea. But before we start, I want to give a heads up to everyone that the meeting is currently being recorded and you are being muted by the moderators to prevent any disruptions during the talk. Now, without any further ado, we shall start, and I'll be passing the floor to Mr. Oakley.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Let me just get the presentation started. And here we go. And hopefully, okay. So thank you very much, Andrea. Welcome, everybody. This is a presentation that I do quite a lot. It's aimed at entrepreneurs who are going to be pitching to venture capitalists. So it's a slightly higher bar than what you're doing today, but what you're doing next week or fortnight's time for the Hult Prize is the first step. So I'm going to give you exactly the same advice that I give to entrepreneurs who are wanting to raise $2, $3, $5 million at a time, because the same rules apply. It doesn't matter who you are pitching to. What matters is the impact that you have on them, and what you're trying to do when you go out there is that you are trying to change people's minds about something. So with no more ado, I'm going to jump in and tell you what this webinar is all about. Oh, I forgot. Just do press subscribe. If you haven't already followed Andrea's advice, just Google Denis Oakley Strategy Consulting and YouTube, press subscribe. So with no more ado, this webinar, this session on pitching is all about sex. And that may be a little bit harsh, it may be a little bit in your face, but fundamentally, this is what we're trying to do. We're not trying to sleep with the venture capitalists, we're not trying to sleep with the judges on the panels, but we are trying to seduce them. We don't want to go to bed with them. What we want is to get a second date. We want to have a conversation. We want to get them interested in us, because if they're not interested in us, if they're totally bored by us and they just go, then your pitch cannot succeed. So in just the same way, when we're looking for a partner for our lives to live with, to marry with, to settle down, or something more temporary, we need to get them attracted to us. We need to get them interested in what we're saying, and we need to get them to change their behavior from thinking of us as nobody who's not interested, who they don't want to talk to somebody that they want to have lots of questions, that they want to ask us questions and find out more about who we are and what we can do for them. And this is the whole purpose of tonight. So when you go up and in the Hult Prize, this is a really good template to follow to get interest, to get that impact. So stick to 10 slides. Don't do any more than that. Keep it very simple. Oops. So 10 slides. I don't know the timings in the Hult prize, but certainly never be talking for 20 minutes. If you've got an hour, talk for 20 minutes. If you've got 20 minutes, talk for 7 or 8. If you've got 5 minutes, talk for 3 or 4. So that you can, one, this does two things. It focuses you so that you are really focused on reducing the number of words. I've spoken to lots of entrepreneurs over the years, and some of them, they're still going on 40, 50 minutes later, and I'm just thinking, dude, what are you talking about? So by keeping your presentation to 30% of the time allotted to you, and this isn't a hard rule, it's a good rule, you have to focus on making it clear, making it really easy to understand, making it simple for the listener to access. Yeah, because after they've seen 10 pictures, 20 pictures, their brains are going to be mushed. They're all going to be coming out of their ears. They're not going to really care any longer. So you've got to give them porridge, something that is easy to go into the mouth, easy to digest, easy to make a judgment on. And if it's easy for them to understand, then you win. Okay, next point. With your slides, 30 points, minimum font size. Keep the text large, keep it easy to read, and maximum 5 to 8 words per slide. No more than that. Let you do the talking. You are the performer. The slides are just there to keep things moving along. They're not what the evening is about. You, like this guy on the right, are what the evening is about. That is where all the eyes should be, not on trying to read small text on the PowerPoint. So 30 points or larger. The larger you can get, the better. And frankly, when you get to my age, almost 50, your eyes start failing and you just can't read the small stuff anyway. So you think, okay, people don't care about me writing small. Why should I care about them? You've lost points again. So what do you need to do? So you've got to explain your idea. You've got to talk about, you've got to explain all the little bits we're going to come on to. But fundamentally, the VCs care about you as people, because your idea is probably rubbish. Your financial predictions are absolute crap. How you say you're going to do it isn't going to work, as we're going to see from some slide decks later on. And so fundamentally, they are buying a person. Yeah. And so the more you can show integrity, passion, experience, all these things in the presentation, in the pitch, and I mean, say it. If you say, I'm brilliant, I'm full of integrity, that's bullshit. It's just totally discounted. Yeah. But you show it by how you behave, who you are, how you act, how you come across. This is what they believe. This is what they buy. This is part of how you seduce the judges on the other side. You come up with that with energy, with passion, with confidence, with fluency, and that makes a huge difference. Oops, sorry, wrong button. So you start off your pitch deck with something very similar to this. My customer has this problem, which we solve by doing this. We make money by doing something else, and we have a huge advantage because of our secret weapon. This isn't an ideal formula, but these two sentences give them an instant an instant understanding to solving everything else. And you should probably be spending about 25% of all the time that you spend on the slide deck figuring out these 20 or 30 words. Don't put them up on the screen. Say them to your audience. Say them to the judges. Look into each judge's eyes as you say this. Scan around the room. Give them a real feeling of confidence that you have nailed it, because it doesn't matter if you're smart, it doesn't matter if you've got a good idea, it doesn't matter if you're absolutely brilliant at executing. If you come across as confident that you know what you're doing, your win rate will be 3 to 4 times higher than if you're good at everything else, but you can't pitch, you can't portray confidence. So this is absolutely critically important, and the clearest, simplest, easiest way to make confidence at the beginning of the pitch is to have a very, very clear statement about what you're about. So don't start, my name is Alvin and we're from Sarawak and we're studying civil engineering. You've just lost them totally. You may say, good afternoon, bang, these customers have this problem and we're going to solve them by doing this. And we'll see some examples later on. So you kick off, first slide up, your title. I put them in company format. It's just to give you a little bit of an idea about how to do it. This is your first slide. Yeah, your logo, your company name, a little bit of a tagline, if you've got one, and then forget about the address, forget about the phone number. Yeah, name, possibly forget about the title. Yeah, just a contact email, contact phone, company tagline, company name. Simple, fewer words, less to absorb, less to process, easier to understand. Okay, the next slide. Yeah, describe the pain. Again, 5 to 8 words, make it super simple. What is the problem that somebody has got? What is the problem that is so bad that somebody is prepared to spend money to solve it? Are they starving to death? Do they need to impress somebody? Do they simply, where are they going to get sex from? Where are they going to get power from? Where are they going to get status from? What is stopping them from getting these 3 things? And basically, every single product or service known to man solves one or other of those problems. It helps people to get one or more of them. And if you can't tie the problem that you're solving back to one of those 3 things, sex, status, or power, then you're not going to catch interest. You haven't got something strong enough. So, so as soon as you're doing this, you are grabbing attention. The stronger that you come out of the gate, the stronger you wow them, the better it is. That's one of the reasons why I start my slides. It's all about sex, because you're not expecting that. Whoa, it makes everybody listen up. It shocks people. Listen up. He's not meant to be doing this. Have we booked somebody absolutely crazy? What is he going to come up with next? Everybody's adrenaline. Everybody's getting a little bit more exciting. Bang, you've got people listening to you. And if people are listening to you, you've got their attention. This is the most important thing that you have to start with. So do something that grabs attention. So this is a company, a small hotel company. I don't know much about them, but this is their problem. So immediately they're putting the problem up in your face. And what have we got here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines. So about 30 words on this page. Look at it. Very simple, very clear, nice design. Nothing else is needed. No fancy graphics, just the really important stuff. Here's another one. And bonuses if you guess it. I can't see the chat, but you try and figure out these which these companies are. I mean, the names will appear in a few minutes. So when you've got these things up on screen, yeah, you need to be able to talk about it. Do not read this. Yeah, so if you stand up and say the problem is video files are too large to email, video files are too large to host, your audience is just going to be going like that. Yeah, we're going to talk about how to do this a little bit later, but never, ever, ever read what is on your slide. That is the kiss of death. It is just going to turn people off. They're going to think this is the most boring accountant that I've ever met, and just walk across the room and start talking to the muscle-bound guys who are a little bit naughty and who promise a lot more excitement in their life. Okay, here's another problem. Yeah. Basically what they're saying, taxi companies are absolutely terrible. We hate them. People hate them. That's a big problem to be solved. Oh, and you can possibly spot the name up here. Wait until their last slide when they sort of talk about their prospects. It's absolutely priceless. So next slide. So we've had 2 slides so far, the title and the problem. The next one is the solution. What is your solution? Again, we're looking for 5 or 10 words, maybe a few more, but very, very simple. Don't make people think, don't use jargon. If you can't explain this to your grandmother, and I don't know how many of you are native Sarawakians or Sabahans, but go up to the log house, and if you can't explain it to your granny, who's 5 hours drive from the nearest tarmac road so that she understands it, you need to think again. Keep it simple. Yes, the judges, yes, the VCs are probably some of the smartest people that you've ever met, but you make it simple for them to understand, then they're able to ask smarter questions. That gets them more engaged. That gets them to really buy into your idea and what you're selling. So simple, bang. Look at this, a web platform where users can rent out their space to host travelers too. Save money, make money, share culture. Boom. Super simple. How long did it take you to understand that slide? Not very long. Here's the next one. Okay, so it's YouTube. So I mean, they did this a little bit on the back of the envelope, but again, you've got 3 very short, simple statements talking about the solution, and going back from 2005 through to 2020, you can see, bang, this solution is still true. Bang, this solution is still true. Bang, this solution is still true. These 3 things are still at the heart of how they make money. This is the core of the business, always has been, always will be. Uber, a fast and efficient on-demand car service. You put the most important thing at the top. The rest of it, people will read. There's way too much on here. Don't copy Uber. This is a wall of text. This is a wall of death. You will turn people off. And it also, more words leave you less to talk about. I need to speed up. Okay, business model. Who's got your money? How are you going to get his money into your pocket? Actually, it's your money in his pocket at the moment. Now, how do you get it back to you? This is the important part of the business model. Airbnb, right? 84 million trips. This is how much they charge people. That's going to show how much money that they actually get. And they take 21 billion after 5 or 6 years. Wicked, very clear, making money. You can't beat what is it? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 words to describe how they make money. Yeah. Some people I work for, some entrepreneurs, 2 months later, I'm still thinking, so how do we make money? I know how he spends it. It's going fast, but I don't know how he makes it. Okay, next thing. What is the underlying magic? What's the technology? Yeah, now this, most of you love making stuff. Yeah, this is possibly another kiss of death. This is where you can totally bore people. You need to find some way where you can explain this very quickly. Do not let your engineer do this. Do not let your geek do this. Have the salesman do it and have him really upset the geek by simplifying, getting rid of everything that is fluff, that is extraneous, that the audience does not need to know right now. Yes, they will come back, they will answer the details, but that's on the second date. That's when they come back and say, yes, we care about VCR Common Rail Magimix 2.0. Yeah, but right up front, people do not need to know that. So less text, more diagrams, schematics. Now look at this. Look at this. 3 screens. Airbnb. Stay with a local when traveling. Then the next one shows how you find them in search. Next one, it shows the booking screen, how the house has happened. Yeah, these 3 screens tell the story. Search by city, review listings, book it. What is it? 1, 2, 7 words. Yes? So say goodbye to what your engineer says. Focus on conveying a short, compelling, powerful message. Simplify, simplify, shorten, shorten. Okay, this is YouTube. I don't really get what they're trying to say here. It probably made sense to the people who were listening. Okay, this is Uber's one. I think these okay, route optimization. This is how we do route optimization. They could have said that, but love this. Mobile phones plus intelligent scheduling. Boom. Yeah, iPhone, BlackBerry, Symbian. 2 of those are dead now, but never mind. No Samsungs either. So this shows, and you've got the the reputation tracking. It's got the core of the business in those words. There aren't many excess words. It's all delivering value, helping people to understand what they are about, so the judges can decide, is this interesting? Do they understand what they're talking about, or are they wasting their time? Right, going fast. Okay, that's the Uber fleet. Okay, so you want to make an impact. Every slide should make an impact. It's not just going up there to be interesting or to fill time or to take space. It should have an impact, just like that drop of water does. Okay, go to market. How you gonna get customers? Yeah, if you don't know this, the whole business instead is pretty pointless going out there. There are some cases where you don't need to know. Right, Airbnb, showing how large the market is. TAM, SAM, SOM, total available market, service available market, and service obtainable market. They reckon that they can get 84 million trips a year at $25 a trip. Boom, that's nice. Okay, this is how they're going to go to market. Events, partnerships, Craigslists. How's YouTube doing it? Market size. So they're saying it's big, and we don't know how big it is because it's super big. How are they going out and how are they making money? Advertising, pay for distribution for promotional videos. They charge people for premium. They do all of those. Okay, Uber's chucked numbers at it. Yeah, but the big one, 4.2 billion and growing. This is nice. We like this. The rest of this is fluff. Okay, marketing ideas. I'm going to skip over that. So, competition. Okay, who's the competition? Who's doing something similar? Who's doing offline? Expensive, affordable, online. Airbnb, it's affordable, it's online. This is good. How does YouTube look at the competition? Okay. Well, they at least they're showing the most important people out there, but they're not really telling us much about how the competition works. Okay. VCs invest in you. Yeah, you're the people who's going to make it happen. Who are they investing in? Bang. Okay. What are these people bringing to the table? Yes, he's got a lot of experience, business development and brand. It looks pretty. We can see that. Yeah, we've got somebody who can build the app. Yes, this is good. Okay, Steve Chen. Okay, so they're playing here. They've done PayPal. Yeah, so these people are known by most people in Silicon Valley. They've already built something big. Boom, that gives them credibility. That's a tick. Okay, you probably haven't got financial projections and milestones. Don't worry about these. But if you've got something, this is brilliant. Launched in June, has already overtaken all competitors. Boom, that shows that you've got something. Progress to date. Yeah, this is probably more like what you're going to be doing. Yes, we've got stuff, milestones. Shows that they haven't actually making any money, but it's showing that they're doing something. And potential outcomes for Uber. Yeah, worst case scenario, remain a 10-car, 100-client service in San Francisco. Time saver for San Francisco. Well, they didn't do that. They didn't do that. They didn't do that. They did something up here. That's cool. So finally, ask them for something. Yeah, give them a real good feeling about you. When you're going up in front of the judges, ask them, yeah, do you have any questions? What would you like to know? What problems can you see with this? Yeah, what is going to stop you from giving us a 10? What is going to stop you from giving us the maximum score? Prod them, get a response out of them so that they ask you questions, because once they ask you questions, boom, you've got a conversation. That's part of the engagement. That's seduction. That's getting you to where you need to be. Right. Oh, I have no idea what this slide is. Yes, you all the way through the slide deck, you need to be on an upward track. Yeah, you want to be increasing the tension. You want to be increasing the motivation. You want to be increasing the interest all the way along. Because if you suddenly get boring, they're just going to walk away. So keep it interesting. So what are the things that are going to keep it interesting as you go along? Right. If it makes a logical progression, if one thing leads to the next, people will stay interested. If you're telling them things that they know, things that make sense, things that they understand, they will remain interested. If you validate their hypotheses, what they think that they know, you're confirming their beliefs, they will stay interested. and you show it's believable. Yes, it's possible, it's understandable, they get it. This keeps them interested. But if you tell them something that they know that's not true, and they're thinking, no, that doesn't sound right, boom, they lose you. If you make things complicated that they don't understand it, if your phrasing it isn't good, that you're going to lose them. If you make them think, you're going to lose them. If it's inconsistent and you've got typos and crap, yeah, you're going to lose them. So stay up here, don't be down here. Okay, so a bunch of key takeaways to help this really deliver. Okay, practice. Yeah, there's a wonderful quote from Bruce Lee over on the other side. Yeah, so he was a pretty good martial artist, apparently the best one that there has ever been. I'm not so sure about that, but he is way better than me. Could I get as good as him? Well, I know that if I practice, I can be in the top 10% of the world's people doing something in anything. This is true. This is scientific fact. Unless you've got some gross disability, pretty much anybody who goes out there and practices hard enough can be in the top 10% of whatever sport activity that they want to do. Most people don't put the hours in, don't try hard enough, don't practice hard enough, they quit, so they never get into that top 10%. Do you want to be in there even if you've got no talent? Yes, you can be. If you've got talent, well, you can get up into the top 1%. That is awesome, but you need to practice. So you need to get out there and do stuff for real. I was a politician. I learned to pitch, not by practicing in front of a mirror, which I'm going to tell you about in a bit, but like Barack Obama, going out there and saying, hey, my name is Denis Oakley. I'm your local Conservative candidate. Will you vote for me? And a lot of the time people just went, no, go away. We hate people like you. Like, that was horrendous. But I did this 300-400 times every Saturday for 6 months. So how many times is that? 25 times 400, that's 20,000, 10,000. I can't figure out the numbers, but that's a lot of times pitching. You pitch, you do it in front of real people, not your gran and grandpa and your mum and dad and your friends in your dorm room. No, they give you an easy ride. Go out and find people like these couple of people who really don't look like they vote Democrat and pitch to them. What you learn from them makes it hugely effective. Yeah, when you're writing your pitch, write it all out. Write it out with your hand. Don't type it out on the computer. First time, write it out. Every single word that you're going to say. This is what I did for this pitch the first time I did it. Took me hours writing it out. Then I typed it up. Then I put it into slides. Then I practiced it. We'll come on to that. Write it out, because there is some connection between doing something physically, writing out the words, you say them in your head time and time again, helps you form words in your head. That makes it a lot more fluent. Okay, then you read it aloud. Sit down with the slide deck, read your pitch aloud. Read it out in front to again and again. And just by reading your script, you figure out that how you write isn't how you say things. Yeah? So you change it. You get the red pen, you start scribbling all over it. This makes a huge difference. The more you read it out, the smoother it gets. Then get in front of a mirror. I couldn't get this slide to work, I'm really sorry, but she's there and then you can see her in the mirror in the background. Trust me, it's good. But you stand up in front of a mirror, start doing it. Nobody else needs to be around, talking it through, explaining it, practicing, trying phrases out, trying things out. Yeah. When I'm at a pitch competition or at a hackathon, I go into a room by myself once I've got the pitch deck half done, and then I just spend my time practicing on that. Somebody else does the pitch deck. Yeah, I don't care about that. I'm practicing my presentation, my performance, how to get it right. What are your hand gestures? How are you going to focus on the audience and get them to come to you? How are you really going to engage them? Okay, so next. So then you get to the point where you can improvise. You just get rid of your script, you scrumple it up, you throw it away, and then you're doing much more like I'm doing it now. I'm just looking at the slides and then just talking based on what I see and the title, because I've done this enough times. I know what I need to say, and if I don't say exactly the right thing now, I will say the right thing in a few more minutes. I'm almost there. I've got about 2 minutes left and I'm heading rapidly towards the conclusion. Perform. yes, then you're up there. You are performing on the stage. Practice performing. You are a performance artist. You are no different to this lady, except you might have, hopefully you've possibly got fewer tattoos, and you probably won't show them to the judges unless it is part of what you're trying to sell. But you are up there just like her. You're not you. You're not your normal self. You're stepping into a different world and wowing them. You're performing. You are changing their minds. You're changing their lives. You are changing the behavior and getting them to invest in you by giving you the biggest vote, by giving you the biggest mark, by giving you money to go out and change the world. So you must perform. And if you don't think you can perform, well, go back to step one, start practicing, start writing it out, start going through all the steps that I've told you to make it happen. And finally, just go out there, be yourself. My pitch style is I'm full on, hyper energetic. I'm also trying to compress an hour long slide deck into 30 minutes or 25 minutes. So I'm a bit more manic than usual, but find your own rhythm. Go what goes naturally to you. Find your own voice. It takes a while to do it, which is again why you need to practice. Oh, if you've enjoyed that, do subscribe. Find me on YouTube. I've tried to take most of the expletives out of this. I'm sorry, everybody, for the few that slipped through. I do get a little bit excited, but YouTube has some amazing stuff on there at the same level of high energy, some of it a little bit slower. If you like business models, this is what I do. I help people change their ideas into businesses. Yeah, you're the dreamer out there. I bring a lot of clarity, focus and structure to help you bring your dreams to life. And just connect with me on LinkedIn or YouTube. I'm never really going to try and sell you much. I'm way more interested in having somebody on this trail going into the wilderness and trying to figure out how to turn your amazing ideas into businesses that can change the world. So guys and girls, have an amazing time at the Hult Prize. Do me proud, do yourselves proud, step out, be absolutely amazing. And I know that you can do it. I've heard a lot about you from Johan and Andrea, and now ask me anything. We've got as long as you want until we get kicked out. I'll answer as many questions as you want. Whew. Now, how do I close the slide deck?
All right, thank you so much for the educational talk, Mr. Oakley. I'm pretty sure all of us here had at least learned something or two during this 30 minutes presentation, and your advice on how to pitch is definitely going to be beneficial for the participants in the upcoming Hult Prize competition. All right, so like how you say, the audience must have some questions that they are dying to ask. So if you have any, feel free to drop in the Slido. The Slido code is in the chat box on your right, or you can just type your questions right into the chat box. Alternatively, if you would like some direct interaction with Mr. Oakley, you may also turn on your mic and ask him directly. Jing Mian, our campus director, will be moderating the session, so I'll be passing the floor to her.
All right, thank you, Andrea. So there we've received quite a few questions here on Slido. Mr. Oakley, if you will. So one of the questions was, it's a 6 minutes long presentation, and so should I still have 10 slides?
You can probably get rid of the call to action at the end, which is number 10. You can probably get rid of the metrics. Pretty much everything else is important, but if you've got 6 minutes, most people talk at 100 words a minute. I talked about 120, just to give you a little bit of an idea. So that means if you in 6 minutes, you have got 600 words. So 600 words is something that you can write out. That means that you've got about 80 words per slide. Yeah, so then you basically allocate that, and 6 minutes is absolutely brilliant for you because it really focuses you on choosing what are the 80 words I want to say about this slide. How do I have an impact with these 80 words? Does that answer the question?
Yep. Okay, we have a next one. So we are doing a pre-recorded presentation. Should we record ourselves speaking, or should we record our slides with us in the corner?
If you can avoid doing a pre-recorded presentation and do a live one, I'd always do that, because way more energy comes out. Because remember what I said, people are buying you, people are buying your enthusiasm. So if you're doing it pre-recorded, I think just look at what I do on YouTube. Every single one of my videos that I've done in the last few years, if I'm doing slides, there's a little picture of me down in the bottom so people can see me, so people can see my body language, how I'm moving, how my face, how enthusiastic I am about it. I believe that's important intuitively, so that's what I do. Have you in the bottom. And if you record 15 or 20 times to get your image right, that's okay. I did a 2-minute video the other day pitching. It took me 27, 28 times to get it right, and it's good for you.
All right, thank you. So we have another one. Should I show statistics to back up my argument? Because you said to minimize info on my slides.
Okay, I did a slide deck the other day. Demand for data scientists is growing at 38% a year. Both. Yeah, is that simple. That's as far as you want to go. You might want to have 38 in big numbers on one side, but if you do not want to take graphs from somebody else, you want to simplify things. I'd say just put simple numbers on the slide deck. Make those numbers 100 point and make them stand out. Yeah. Don't show graphs, because the reason why I say that is, unless you're good at doing graphs, the chances are you're going to take somebody else's graph, edit that graph, and you're going to be taking the biases and assumptions that they were using for that graph that won't necessarily be designed to convert your audience. So there's lots that you can do with a graph to make your numbers and the layout incredibly attractive, and that's quite hard to do well. So better to have simple numbers, keep them very, very high level, but you should know them, because what you're doing with those numbers are just there to get somebody to ask more. Yeah, it's just like a CV is totally pointless, total waste of time. The only point is for it to get you a conversation with a hiring manager. After that, pointless. Yeah, it's like wearing a necklace when you're going out to a bar, wearing a piece of gold jewelry. It's something to attract the eye, to get somebody to talk to you. That is all the statistics are doing. You cannot present a logical, well-reasoned, rational argument that is airtight in 6 minutes. I know, I'm a philosopher by training. My life has been about constructing logical arguments. You can't do it. What you're doing is you're telling a story to excite interest. They ask you questions, you fill out the details. Don't give the details in the pitch.
All right, thank you. Okay, here's another one. We're a team of 3. Is it better for one person to present it, or all 3?
One person.
Okay.
The way that you split it up, one person does the research, gets the photos, gets the imagery, gets everything that's needed. Somebody else puts the slide deck together. Somebody else spends all the time presenting. Yeah, it may seem unfair that there's one person up there appearing to do all the work, and the other two are just saying, "Oh, easy life." But have one person pitching it, because the amount of time that you need to put in to get a pitch working well is intense. I've just signed a client, and put it this way: there's a college in KL which charges an MBA fee. Yeah. What I'm charging this client to get him ready to win VC funding is more than 3 times the cost of an MBA, a full-time MBA in Kuala Lumpur. Yeah, so he is going to be putting in at least 2 or 3 times the amount of hours that I am on making this happen. So this is how much time you need to put in. So the pitcher needs to put the hours in practicing that pitch. If he stumbles, if he stutters, if he loses track of his thought, he hasn't done enough presentation. He needs to be fluent, he needs to be powerful, he needs to be way better than I came across tonight. And you can do that in the 5 or 10 days that you have got if the one person dedicates all their time to practicing the pitch. He has to trust everybody else on the slide deck. But that's okay. This is what teamwork's about. It's not doing everything together. It's doing what you are best at and playing to your individual strengths.
All right. There's a question from Ian. You may go ahead.
Yeah, we were told that, I mean, it's best for one person to present, but at the same time, we were told that it's better if all 3 appear in the presentation of the video. So it's a bit of a debate here. How can we solve this?
Yeah, well, the way I'd look at it, I don't give a monkeys about what anybody says. What matters for you when you're going in there to win the Hult prize is basically one thing: how do the judges score you? What's the scoring rubric? Yeah, if the scoring rubric means it needs to be seen to be a team effort, everybody needs to appear. Yeah, and you lose points if people don't appear. Yeah, then obviously people appear. If the scoring rubric is all about fluency of presentation, impact, quality of idea, quality of work, then I say make the team judgment based on how well that you can score. And basically, I didn't really want to be totally focused on nailing the scoring. Yeah, you're not up there to do a presentation, you are up there to collect points from the judges. What is the best way of maximizing the point scoring that you're getting? Yeah, if they've got rules, play the rules, get those numbers. Do everything to get the numbers. Does that help, Ian?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
All right, on to the next one. We have, should I prepare slides with answers to possible questions during the judges' Q&A?
It depends. Maybe a little bit more context would be helpful. I mean, if you want to tell me a little bit more about what you're thinking, but I'll give a general answer and then I can come back and if you want to give me a bit more information. If you've got interesting marketing information that's difficult to come out, showing market size or something that's really, really important, then maybe have it. But generally, if nothing else, if you can't express your ideas clearly in 10 or 20 words, then a picture probably isn't going to help you. Yeah, if you can do it, then a picture isn't entirely necessary. That's the way that I would be looking at it. Part of also, remember that the VCs are determining whether they want to get in bed with you. Yeah, not with your idea, not with the business, with you. So when they're asking questions, it's as much a character test. Yeah, are you able to stand up there and answer them fluently, instantly, confidently, and with detail? Or are you falling back on the slide as a crutch because you're not confident in yourself and you want to have this paper or electronic shield of the slide in front of you to defend you from any potential criticism. I know that kind of sounds harsh, but they want to see what you're made of. When I've judged competitions, yeah, I chuck really, really nasty questions, not because I'm interested in the answer, because I know in most cases they're going to fluff the answer. If they actually manage to give me a good answer, that's really good. I want to see how the team react. Is the CEO or the picture prepared? Is he able to respond quickly on the fly? Does he have the guts and the balls to say, I don't know? We'll have to come back to you on that. Yeah, so it comes back to one of the early slides, testing character as much as testing the business model. So generally, and trying to get the right slide up, you're losing time, you're losing interest, you're losing focus from the people, you're making them wait. Way better to be super prepared. Boom. If making slides is part of your preparation, boom, go for it. If not, don't bother.
All right. We have this one. What would be the key differences when planning revenue of a for-profit and social enterprise?
Okay, so basically all your revenue figures are lies. Yeah, nobody is going to believe them, because I've done so many revenue models and every single one I've ever done has been wrong in ever more interesting ways. So your revenue numbers are the least useful slide out there. Put something up that you can defend. Generally, when I'm asking questions of entrepreneurs up there, I'm not interested in the number. I'm interested in how they got to the number. So you either come at it from a top-down approach. So this is what other people are saying about the market, and therefore we think that we're able to make these numbers by getting 1%. And people will go, yeah, maybe that's true, maybe that isn't, but it's a reasonable approach and we understand how you got it. Or you go for a bottom-up approach and you say, right, okay, there are 5,000 students at Swinburne, 10% of them are from overseas, their parents send their money across once a term, and that is, let's say, $1,000. I've got no idea. So therefore, we figure that we can get 10% currency transaction by shipping that money across in bulk. So a bottom-up approach where you've shown how you're building the revenues based on the people that you know, based on your experience, is a good way, and it's actually a much better way of doing it because it's very quick and easy to test. Are you able to get to all of Swinburne students? Do all of them come? Do the numbers come from overseas? Are the numbers, the financial numbers I've just mentioned, right? You can test those quickly and easily. That makes it very easy for the venture capitalist to think about those numbers himself or herself and say, yes, I believe this. If they believe it, boom, your credibility goes up. They're more likely to buy or more likely to give you a higher score. If they don't believe it, then your credibility goes down. So keep it simple.
All right, thank you. And the next one, when pitching a social enterprise to an audience of clients or judges or investors, would it be best to appeal to focus on the altruistic nature of our audience?
No. No. So I was doing some work with a friend yesterday. She is going for a role of a major global charity that, amongst other things, is work. It's not the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, but it's at that kind of level. And what we did is we went onto a site called Crystal Knows, Crystal CrystalSalesKnows.com. Crystal Knows. I'll try and type it in here. Crystal Knows. We looked up all the members of the board. who are going to be interviewing her, and then we did got psychometric profiles of them. Yeah, and in her case, so about a third of the board are captains. They're very pragmatic, execution orientated people who like to get stuff done, and about a half are idealists. So knowing that information about the judges, then, the people who are going to be up there, then enabled us to tailor the pitch to what the people want. Yeah. So that made it that made it very clear. Okay, we're going to lead off with the big idea, something that's amazing, that's going to get the idealists really excited, and then come very, very concrete and factual, so that we're giving meat to the people who are good at execution. So that's how we're doing it. So so this is for a job where it's all about helping stop people dying from AIDS, helping millions of Africans getting COVID, improving their health systems. Yeah, so this is as altruistic as it gets on a huge scale, and there we're being very, very focused on, okay, what is the change, what is the bottom line, how to make an impact. Altruistic arguments, Paul Kahan talks about power and love. Often altruistic arguments are very lovey, very emotive, and if you focus entirely on those, you end up with a seriously limp and underperforming presentation. You've got to go for the power, and the power is in the numbers, the power is in the action, the power is in being very specific. So if you want to be altruistic, we want to feed all Africans. Yeah, that's a very altruistic thing. Yeah, you've then got to be very, very clear about why they should open their purses to give you money, because if you don't give them very practical, very pragmatic reasons to open their purses, their shareholders, their grant givers are going to sue them and sack them for malfeasance, incompetence, etc., because they will not be looking after the money that they as officers are entitled with. So an altruistic, friendly argument will win a friend at a university. It will not win friends or get people to support you at this level where you want to get people to give you money or support to change the world. You need to be a lot more firm and rigorous than that.
All right, thank you. Chalward, you have a question?
Yes. Hi, Dennis. Given the pandemic situation, we're not going to present live. We can't present live. So is it still advisable that we still go ahead to proceed with the pitch deck slides in our video? And if so, how do you suggest we integrate that into a video?
Okay. There are a number of ways that you can do it. You can. Okay. Firstly, you can do a YouTube live or something and stream it and capture it. Yeah. Secondly, you could use a piece of free software like loom.com. That's absolutely amazing. Where you can take a video of the screen and then there's a picture of you in the bottom left or right hand corner, and you can control the size of that. So that, I think, would be an entry level. What I think could work here is if you record the video, yeah, you standing up and probably head and shoulders, having somebody record a video of the pitch. Then alongside that, so you have, can I annotate the screen? I'm just looking, I want to draw, don't know how to draw in what's it? No, I can't draw, never mind. So you have half the screen with the slide deck, and then half the screen with an image of you talking presenting it. So you're doing them side by side. That will probably take a little bit more video savvy, but what you'll do is you'll time the slide deck to the video pitch. And that also means that you can take the video pitch, chop it up into sections, so you do each slide at a time, have a little bit of a very subtle transition. You can edit out all the ums and ahs and any sound and make it absolutely crystal clear. A lot more effort, obviously, and it depends on how much you want to win. A lot of this is attention to detail. Did that help, Chelwood?
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, we have one. I lose my confidence when I see my audience not paying attention or losing focus. What would you do during such instances?
Well, that is why we go out and practice. Yeah, Frank Sinatra, who's a famous singer with blue eyes, apparently, he'd vomit every time before he went on stage, even into his 70s, and he started performing. He was a worldwide superstar. He started performing in his 20s, so he still got nervous. That's perfectly okay. I get nervous now with audiences over about 500 because I've done so many, and this is what I mean by practice. When you've done something so many times in front of so many people, where you've had pushback, where you've seen the responses, you know what's going to happen. So when you've got, and I was thinking my one slide where I'm talking, go and do it for real, that should be way later in the slide deck. So once you've got to a certain level, go out there and just pitch to people. Just pick a random person and say, hey, have you got a few minutes? I'm practicing for a competition. It's going to take me 5 minutes to give you a pitch. Can I try it on you? And a lot of people will say, no, that's okay. But enough people will say yes. And then when you're doing it, and you need to be good enough, confident enough, so that you know your words, so you're not thinking too much about the words that are coming about your mouth. You've got the performance just about right. And then what you're doing is you're looking at their eyes, you're looking at the facial expressions, you're looking at the body language, you're trying to figure out, that's where I started losing him. The words there aren't tight enough. This is really how you do it, and this is why the real one-to-one interaction is good enough. But you're building on, you've said it dozens and dozens of times here, by practicing hundreds of times, you're building your self-confidence, you're normalizing. It's not a frightening experience. You've normalized your behavior, so you're really reducing the amount of adrenaline and cortisol flooding into your system. So if you're getting nervous up on stage and you're getting thrown by their eye contact, you haven't practiced enough, and you need to go out and practice. And I'm sorry, I can't sugarcoat that. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So does this question, is saying I don't know fatal for my pitch?
I don't know. Sorry, I didn't quite hear the question.
Is saying I don't know fatal for my pitch?
The fatal? What was? I don't know the something word for my pitch. I'm not getting that. I'm really sorry. A bit tired now.
Yeah, I've pasted it in the chat.
Okay. Sorry, I missed it. Okay. No, it's not. Certainly at the level you are, and even the level I am. So I'm going to be pitching to the chairwoman of a large corporation, and they sell more than $1 billion a year, and sometime before Christmas. And fundamentally, she's going to ask me questions about market size, and I'm going to say, I don't know. I want you to give me 50,000 quid to go and find out the answer to that. That's why I'm coming to you now, because there's no way that we can find out that answer without spending some money, without spending some time on the ground and figuring it out. So I think it's perfectly okay to say, I don't know. This is something that we need to figure out. However, there are a couple of caveats to that. If it's something pretty obvious that you could have found with a 5 or 10 minute Google search, if it's something that's obvious to a non-specialist, yeah, then you just come across looking at lazy or incompetent at best. Yeah, unprepared. Yeah, so you should pretty much know the answers to most questions. I mean, when I'm preparing with my clients, I've got a list of about 200 questions that VCs are likely to ask in a pitch situation, and we prepare for them. We prepare answers for them, so that we have the numbers, so we don't have that. But it's not unreasonable at a pre-seed stage, pre anything stage, for you to be saying, no, I don't know the answer to this, but we suspect it may be this. Yeah, so I don't know what the answer actually is, but our estimates, our guesses, our intuition is that it is this, and what we will be doing is we will be doing this research to find out the answer. Yeah, so that's how I think you handle it.
All right, thank you. So we have the last 3 questions. One of them is, won't the judges think I'm looking down on them if I simplify my slides too much?
No. What do you know about the judges? Who are the judges? You're making assumptions about them and their behavior. So what you and again, I think that could be a psychological avoidance mechanism, because it's very what is quite effective for helping you to avoid feelings of failure is by making something really complicated so nobody understands it, and then saying, well, they were just too stupid, they weren't brilliant enough to understand my brilliant model. That protects you from failure. It protects you from thinking, my pitch sucked, I've got to get better. It reduces the potential emotional pain. So that is something that I see quite a lot in entrepreneurs, and why we're focusing on simplicity, because you need to get raw feedback and listen to it. Secondly, if you can't express your idea simply, people don't buy in. And honestly, if you can express your ideas so simply that they think that they're being talked down to, and they think that you think that they are really dumb, then you have put an amazing amount of hard work into your slide deck, and I'm pretty bloody certain you will be able to ramp up the level of complexity very, very quickly in response to their answers and sort of recalibrate it. Yeah, but if you're starting complex, it's very difficult to come down to the level of the audience. But if you start very simple, and then the audience is saying, is giving you signs that they're able to understand more complexity, then it's relatively easy to dive in deeper into a greater level of understanding that's appropriate to where they are. So is put the audience needs first all the time. Yeah, and you don't know anything about these people. Though, have a look at their LinkedIn. Look at the level of language that they use on their LinkedIn. Is it really simple and easy to understand? Yeah, if it is really simple and easy to understand, then you can probably make it a little bit more complex. If their LinkedIn isn't clear, is quite complex, it uses words slightly in the wrong format, or there are grammar errors or anything else, then you need to make it more and more simpler. Yeah, so simplicity is a sign that you understand the complexity. It's a really, really good signal that you are somebody that it's worth spending time to seduce.
All right, the next one, you spoke about how without market statistics and research, a pitch could still work. Could you elaborate on that?
So you need to have some market statistics. I mean, we saw what Uber, YouTube, and Airbnb had got, and just off the top of my head, all I can remember from those slides was Airbnb 84 billion market size. YouTube, it's big, but we don't know how large, but it's huge. And Uber, what was it, 4.2 billion? No, that sounds really weird. But anyway, so those were the numbers that stick. And I think you just need a single anchor, a number to anchor people with. So when you go to a restaurant, probably not a Mamak store, but a restaurant, taking your parents to eat out with, if they come across and visit, which seems unlikely, but my parents haven't come and visited me in 15 years, but taking somebody out to a really expensive restaurant where you want to impress them, if you'll notice, the most expensive items are always at the top of the menu. Why is that? It's not because they're the most popular, it's because by putting a high price at the top that nobody is expected to go to, it anchors people. So every item after that is cheaper is going to seem reasonable in comparison to that really expensive number. And so you're doing something similar with a pitch deck. You're giving them a number, a statistic, and the statistic should be credible, it should be believable, it should correspond to the judge's existing knowledge, and then that acts as an anchor, and it allows you to then keep on talking and be believed. That's how it works. Yeah, again, we're telling a story here. We're telling the story of Finding Nemo. We're telling the story of Little Red Riding Hood. We're telling the story of Arkela. Yeah, we're not doing a logical watertight argument. We're trying to get people excited. We're trying to entertain them. Yeah, there are always gaps. There are always logical jumps in a story. Yeah, so you're not trying to nail the coffin down. You're trying to get them to come and look at the coffin. And you're telling them that it's closed at the moment. That's the difference.
All right, thank you for the answer. We have one last question. Should I focus on how my idea works or to relate with the judges? Our theme is food for good.
Okay. So how do you win this? You win this by getting the judges to have a relationship with you, to getting them to want to have more of a relationship with you than anybody else. There's a story of a couple of guys hiking in Canada, I could say. Let's move the story to Sarawak, because I tend to go into the jungle by myself quite a lot. And let's imagine that I'm in the jungle with my friend Matt, and we're going around, and we hear a crashing in the jungle, and out pops the face of a tiger, and we go, oh my golly gosh, we're going to get killed and eaten. Matt starts running, and I stop, and I take my heavy hiking boots off. I'm putting my trainers on, and he stops, and he looks at me and says, Dennis, what are you doing? You're an idiot. You can't run faster than a tiger. And I go, no, Matt, all I have to do is run faster than you. And that, I think, is really important. All you have to do to win this competition is have a better relationship with the judges, because you've got your pitch to excite them more than anybody else has excited them. Yeah, so you just need to be the guy wearing the running shoes. Yeah, so the idea, and I'll say this about ideas in so many different ways and shapes before. Ideas are totally worthless. They're a waste of time. Don't talk about ideas. Nobody cares about your idea. Just don't go about the idea. We do not care about your idea. Yeah, ideas are for, I don't know, people writing fantasy stories. Well, okay, we're writing a fantasy story here in the pitch, but what we are doing is we are telling a story about how this idea is going to change the world. And the whole story arc of the pitch is saying, this is the problem. Yeah? Yeah, this is how people are suffering. Yeah, we want the judges to have empathy with those people who are suffering, who have got that problem out there. So you make it as real, as visceral as possible for the judges. Yeah, and if you're doing food for good, you are showing what it's like when there is not food for good out there. You're showing people with malnutrition, people starving. Just go and look at Oxfam and some of the hunger charities. Look at the images that they're using. Use some images like that to have the same emotional impact. Big, mournful eyes. Yeah, looking at the judges, getting feelings of guilt and shame in the judge. Then you're talking about how you solve the solution. This isn't an idea. This is how you're going to solve that problem. This is how you're going to help real people. This is not an idea that you'd like to try. This is what you are going to do. This is practical. This is concrete. This is going to make a difference. This is going to save lives. This is going to stop mothers crying over the coffin of their children. Yes, this is important. It's not an idea. Yeah, and can you see how this then starts having a much more powerful impact on the judge than talking about an idea? Then the next step is, okay, so we've got this solution. How are we going to do it? Bang. So we're going to do it by this, by this, by this. Yeah, you give them 3 bullet points, always 3. Yeah, this is how we are going to change the world. Super high level. It's a map of Africa, picking out 3 countries and saying this is where we're going to start. Yeah, okay, those countries have got towns, cities and rivers. They've got towns and forests. They've got villages. They've got hamlets. They've got fields. They've got individual people. But we can't go to that level of detail. So we stay up at the country level. Then we say, how are we going to get it to market? Then we say, this is the team that's doing it. These are the numbers that are important. Yeah, you never ever really talk about your idea. Yeah, you're letting them figure out the idea, because you don't need the idea any longer, because you've got the problem, you've got the solution, you've got the customer, and you've got the change, how you're going to make the change. This is the important thing. Does that make sense?
Yep. Thank you. That's all for the questions, and back to you, Andrea.
All right, thank you, Jimian, and thank you for all the questions that you guys have sent in. And ultimately, thank you to Mr. Oakley for the presentation and answering all our questions and doubts, because it's already way past 9. All right, it was very kind of you to give us your time, especially at such an hour. It's already late, and if I'm not mistaken, you actually had an event this afternoon as well, and I'm pretty sure you are tired after a long day. I am. Yeah, you did, right? This afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah, we wish... Huh?
Sorry. No, you talk, sorry.
I'm so sorry. We wish we could send you a token of appreciation, but we do understand it will just hog up more space since you are moving back to the UK soon, right? So please accept our sincere thanks for being with us tonight.
Terima kasih. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And I think the best thing would be is when you do the pitch, when you send things in, just send me your what you send in, and I'll be able to see the impact that I've had, and that will be absolutely wonderful. Send me your videos, send me the pictures, and that will be wonderful to see.
Yes, and before everyone leaves, I would like to ask everyone for some feedback on this talk. The link is in the chat box on your right. So go ahead and fill in a feedback form at the website. Your feedback is very much appreciated. I will paste the link in the chat box. Yeah, please do fill it up, and thank you for your feedback. All right, thank you everyone for coming, and I hope you have learned a lot, and I hope you have a good night ahead as well. Thank you everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See
Thank
you
you,
guys.
Mr. Oakley.
Thank
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nice meeting you, Mr. Dennis.